For today's 5-minute woodshed episode, we're going to look at changing between chords in the most efficient way possible. I like to use the word ergonomics, which kind of refers to sort of your body mechanics when you're playing guitar. The chords that we're going to play, we're going to intersect two different concepts that I describe here on Solid Guitar. The first one is my lessons on Guitar Tai Chi, which again has to do with efficient motion, moving your hand between chords. I'll link to that, and I'll also link to the lesson for the music which we're going to play. Here, it's the last two bars of my G Walking Blues. So it's a 1-6-2-5 turnaround in G. The chords are as follows. For the last two bars of a blues in G, so G7 is our chord, we're playing here this 3-note voicing. And I'm going to play now with sort of this finger picking style. I'm not going to be strumming through with a pick. We're going to move up to our 6th chord, E7. If you want, you can throw the sharp 9 in there. We have A7, D7, G7. What we're going to do is we're going to play 2 beats per chord. Now, the A7 we can now switch to an A minor, which would be the real 2 chord of G, the D7, and the G. Watch what I'm doing here. I'm going to make one modification. I'm going to only play bass notes on string 6. I'm going to play a G note, an B note over the E chord, under the E chord. We're not going to play our A minor and our D7. In order to add approach chords into each chord, we're going to do a half step on the beat. It would sound like this. So 2 beats of G would be G for 1 beat, then a half step into E7, a half step into A, a half step into D, a half step into G. Since we're playing 2 bars, each chord lasts for 2 beats. In order to add a nice walking bass line, each chord will now last for 1 beat, and the even number beats are now going to be half step approach notes into the odd number beats, which are the actual chord we're targeting. In other words, on beat 1, an odd number beat, we have G. On beat 3, an odd number beat, we have E7. Beat 1 is an A minor. Beat 3 is a D7. So here's what we get. G, E flat, E, B flat, A, E flat, D, A flat, G. Here's just the root motion. You'll notice every chord is approached by a half step above, except for the very first alteration we make, which is the E7 chord. The E7 chord is approached by a half step below. Half step above, down to A. Half step above, down to D. Half step above, down to G. As we finger the entire chord, the entire 3-note chord, we're going to now focus on a pivot finger. This is where the idea leads back to my Guitar Tai Chi lessons. We can play this entire sequence without ever taking finger 3 off string 3. G chord, slide up to the E chord, slide down to the A chord, down to the D, down to the G. Here's the effect we create. Again, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. So I'll do it again, and you'll notice that my third finger is staying anchored every time. The only fingers that ever need to move are from the 7th chord on string 6 to the 7th chord on string 5. If my third finger is remaining pressing down on string 3, I only have to practice this motion between fingers 2 and 1. 2 and 1. Again, it looks like this. G and E and A and D and G. Again, the pivot finger, pivot, everything rotates, revolves, pivots, moves around the stable foundation of finger 3. G and E and A and D and G. You'll notice the last element I'm throwing in here, the improvisational element, is that I'm sometimes hitting notes on string 6, sometimes hitting notes on string 5. So really you want to practice it hitting both ways. So that way you can play the turnaround different every time you play it. That's where the improvisation comes in. We're practicing our different options, and then in the moment when we improvise, we're able to then go ahead and call on anything we want at the moment.